Hey everyone, and welcome to this video where I will go over my Lightning Strike Warden that I am playing in the Settlers League. I will also be doing a gamble for a Mageblood, so I got two Apothecary cards ready. I'll put that on the end of the video. I don't want to fail my gamble and be depressed during the video. But yeah, I just wanted to go over my build, the items I was using, kind of what I did in the skill tree, and just share it with you guys. I know that Lightning Strike is very popular. I did not know that when I was choosing my league starter. I just wanted to play the Warden and thought that hitting with multiple projectiles and attacks would proc the Warden stuff very quickly. So yeah, here we are. I took all of the elemental effect things on the Warden's ascendancy. I initially started with the Mother's Teaching, but the bark skin, in my opinion, felt very lackluster, and I decided rather to go with Lightning Coil to convert some of my physical damage into lightning, which is basically the only physical mitigation I ended up going for. The rest is just avoidance and yeah, evasion. So I'm going for as many attacks as possible because 2% damage taken for every attack. So we are using a lightning strike with return projectiles. So just remember, if you do that, you have to have pierce of some sort, at least one. More is better for clear speed. And yes, they were doing Avatar of the Veils, which is the unbound skill that makes you go Super Saiyan, basically. It's 80% more damage, but it charges up to 100 before you can use it. But it charges up so quickly because we hit so many times. And then we have Oath of Winter, which basically freezes and chills everything, even in-game bosses. And then the Oath of Summer for the additional Scorch things. So I have prepared for us just a Uber Cortex, just to kind of show the damage of the build. And then when we're done with this, I'm gonna go through our items, skill gems, and so on. I ended up going with a Herald of Ice. That's the explosion when we're clearing, because I had some unreserved mana and I am solving ailment immunity through my boots and the ancestral vision uh, unique gem, so or jewel, sorry. So I don't need to have a Tempest Shield equipped to get shock immunity. But that is what I would do if not Herald of Ice. The other reason why I like Herald of Ice is it makes it so I don't need as many um, pierces and strikes, because the explosions from the frozen targets kind of helps me clear some. Let's go again. You can see it's just you basically they are so slow from your um, freeze, basically your hoarfrost, that you can basically just ignore their attacks and just nuke them, because they move so slowly and we recover so fast that it doesn't really even matter. But anyway, I just thought that would be a fun boss to show because they're so slow and there's so many projectiles. Alright, so this is what we ended up getting. The Void Scepter, not the best implicits, but pretty cool. Alright, so let's go through some more things on the character. I have got this claw right here. It is about 960 elemental DPS. You can get well over 1,000. So it's not the best claw in the world, but it's pretty good to me. I unfortunately have a fire resistance on the suffixes. I tried to craft this and yeah, kind of failed with the suffixes. I could um, prefix is gonna be changed and recrafted if I wanted, but I didn't really feel like I needed to. Not for the damage anyway. Then what I am going with is just a rare helmet to get reservation efficiency and reduce cost of attacks. So let me get started into why I'm doing that. So I started off playing getting Thrill of the Battle and then the reservation efficiency from the Mana Mastery to be able to fit all the auras. But when I'm using the massive ring Thread of Hope in this dual socket, I'm able to reach the 8% reservation efficiency there. And then with the craft on the helmet, it makes it so that we can put all our auras in comfortably with a decent bit of mana pool left for our tincture. So yeah, that is the helmet. Other than that, we have suppress and int. You just need enough int to be able to put Assassin's Mark to level 20 or 21 if you want to corrupt it. Your claw should be a little bit lower, like 95 using Imperial Claw. So you just need 95, 98, let's say 100 in to be sure. For my rings, I using just the resistance, chaos resistance ring. It is a redeemer, but that mod does very little for us because we only have 4 frenzy charges, so it's just some added cold damage. Then another ring just to get our resistances up, and this one has minus mana cost of attacks. This just makes it so you can attack for a very long time without your mana fully running out, and it also helps sustain your tincture uptime some. Uh, then I just have a shield that has some accuracy because you need some accuracy somewhere in the build. Currently on 99% hit chance with a precision that's fully leveled to level 20. So we're obviously reserving our life with it with arrogance, but you need a accuracy craft somewhere on your suffixes to make your hit chance 100% because it's very, very important for a crit based build to have 100% hit chance. And then I'm just getting more suppression, life, and some just evasion to make us a little bit more tanky. Currently, our evade chance is 72%. We can get that up a little bit higher if we were really focusing on that, but it was good enough for me to level to 99 without much trouble. Then boots. So the boots are important for making your ailment immunity happen. So you need to have a rare boots. It needs to have a craft of ailment avoidance. This goes to 25%, and then the implicit. This goes higher if you use higher Searing Exarch. Oh, sorry, is Eater of World ones. 23 was more than enough for me. I am on 190% avoidance, so this didn't have to be a very high roll one. The reason we only need this much on the boot is because of this dual ancestral vision. So spell suppression chance also applies to elemental ailment avoidance. We have over 100% spell suppression, so we are getting at least 50% avoidance from that jewel. And then if you get this crafted on, plus some overcap spell suppression, you'll easily get element avoidance cap. And that makes you immune to all the ailments, which is very useful. It also frees up your pantheon. You don't have to take the freeze immunity there. You don't have to take the retake of shock here. So I took it fully into chaos avoidance, so chaos damage over time, other damage over time sources, and poisons. So poisons are basically a non-factor for us. And for the belt, I got myself some strength because I wanted to use a level 20 steel skin. So I have steel skin on with automation, which means it keeps triggering it every time it comes off cooldown, which just gives us another layer of defense. It's almost, I think, 2000 life bonus we get from that. The gloves, you need attack speed, suppression, and whatever else you want. So for me, I went for some more damage of attacks, some more evasions to get my evasion chance up, and then more resistances. It's nice to have a source of rage on hit. You can either get it on your gloves in place of the additional strike that you can also get from Eldritch Currency on the gloves, and you can anoint the veterans. Where is it? Veterans Wrath, or you can anoint Divine Judgment and just get Rage on hit with the gloves and go for the additional strike on the tree. This was the way I went with it. You can do it whichever way you like to play. You can have additional strikes times 2 if you want, and then just anoint Veteran's Wrath and leave Divine Judgment entirely, whatever works for you. And yeah, I think the last thing is just to talk about our amulet. So I made this into a talisman by using the beast craft because it was on a base that had mana regen as the implicit for the amulet. The reason I got this is because of the suffixes were amazing. Um, and yeah, so this was very early on in the league still, before I had a lot of currency. Right now, I would have probably recrafted the prefixes to try and get them a little bit better, but the suffixes were great for me. It's the crit multi, the crit chance, and the veiled strength and intelligence, which pulled up my attribute requirements. I got the attack and cast speed on the implicit, which I'm very happy with. You can also get pierce, or you can get different types of damage taken as. So yeah, that's the amulet that I went for. And then our flasks, I initially had a diamond flask, but our critical strike chance with elusive and everything up, because we're using Nightblade support, is in the high 90s. So it's good enough for me to not use a diamond flask. So I'm swapped it out for a silver flask. Just get flasks with gain flask charge and critical strike, so they'll almost always be full when you're fighting. And then I have movement speed because I don't have a Quicksilver flask, and then evasion um, just for some more defenses. And then the reason I'm using this phasing flask is just because I don't have phasing on uh, my jewel that I'm putting in my Stygian Vice. I use this jewel to make myself stun immune. So it's corrupted with stun avoidance, and it has stun avoidance on it. And then I, with my massive Thread of Hope, took the stun avoidance here, which gives you another 30%. So it's 30% plus the, let's say, 45. And then from the Heart of Oak, you have some, and from the skill point here. So this makes us fully immune to stun. So 103% stun avoidance. So I went for that because I really, really dislike being stunned. Um, yeah, and then for a tincture, you just get one for penetrate elemental rays. You can get a much better tincture than I have here. You get a tier 1 penetration, and the implicit can be obviously up to 100%. And then I'm just using a flask that gives you bleed removal. Initially, it was for corrupting blood as well, but we got a corrupting blood jewel in our large cluster. Let's just go over our skill gems quickly. I will link the path of building in description for this character if you want to look at it in a bit more detail. But going lightning strike, the vol one we need because activating the vol lightning strike is such a massive increase in damage. Then we're using Night Blade, Sport, Turning Projectiles, Multi-Strike, Trinity, and then I went for Inspiration because of wanting to attack so many times before mana runs out. I really value that high, but if you don't want to do Inspiration, you can do elemental damage with weapon, elemental damage with attacks support because it's technically more damage. I just like the not running out of mana thing a lot. So that's why I valued it so highly. Then I'm using haste. You can also use anger or wrath if you prefer to just have higher flat damage. Personally, I just like zooming and attacking very fast. So, and then I have a mark on hit, assassin's mark, and this is just life tap to save us some mana. Then I have blood rage for attack speed, Grace for defense, Frostblink because Whirling Blades is the best movement ability in the game in my opinion, but sometimes you have to go over stuff and then you need Frostblink. Then I've cast on damage taken Tornado, just is just an extra little source of damage. It's not very important. You can go for something else if you want. And then Herald of Ice for the extra clear speed and flat added damage. Then Steel Skin on automation we did mention just for more defense. Precision to cap my accuracy linked to arrogance, so it reserves our mana. Sorry, it reserves our life instead of our mana. Then I have life tap, rage, momentum were linked to the whirling blades. The rage doesn't do too much, so you can take that out and put something else in the spot if you want to. It's just sometimes you hit the enemies and you gain some rage, which is not bad at all. Just quickly going over our skill tree one more time. So the biggest things here is to get the Third of Hope and the Lethal Pride with a large cluster jewel. Third of Hope literally just saves us a ton of skill points and makes us able to reach some of these life and other critical strike and damage and reservation and so on nodes that we cannot reach with our amount of skill points we have available. So then we just grab all of these points as I'm showing. So for example, this one we do need always because of penetration. This is going to save us 1, 2, 3 points right there. This saves us 1 point, 1 point. Yeah, so it just saves us quite a bit of points here, which we then can use on getting more cluster jewel nodes allocated. And then, yeah, we are just taking some life and the pierce and the extra strike I talked about, capping our spell suppression, accuracy, and critical strike chance. We're taking life. This one we're just taking because we need the full wheel allocated for the treating resistances as inverted. And then we're taking the critical strike chance for projectile attacks, which lightning strike is in a projectile attack. And this is more element avoidance here with this life cluster. And then going over our lethal pride jewel. So the stats that you want to look for is a critical strike multiplier, chance to deal double damage, and increased strength is nice, but yes, that's the one. Chance to intimidate for 4 seconds on hit, so that just makes them take more damage. Those are the three most important that you want to look for on your lethal pride jewel. And then for our cluster jewel, we just went for one with three, what do you call this? Three big nodes and 8 passives. And then we went for one that gives us chance to deal double damage on critical strike cluster. And then this one fires an additional pierces an additional projectile. Would have been nice if it was firing too, with a projectile attack jewel. So 4 or 5 passives will work with the two big um, notables. Then this is something else that is kind of weird. So you can see I have the dagger, dagger wheel here because of the 40% elusive effect and then the crit multiplier while you have Nightblade. So this is also 3% movement speed as well on the two small nodes. Even though we're not using a dagger, it doesn't say 40% elusive effect with daggers. So this is just gives us more avoid chance, more movement speed, and it just makes us just feel a lot smoother and nicer when we're mapping. And then we have the frenzy charge generation on our mark mastery and the Nightblade effect again with elusive on our claw mastery. I think all that is left for us to do is gamble some mage blood. So I have done this previously too on a video on the Trial of the Ancestors League, and I was able to get my Mage Blood from this. I don't know if we'll have the same luck again this time. So yeah, this is obviously quite an expensive gamble. It's about 60 divine for a card, so it's yeah. Um, wish me luck. I can't look. Oh my word, it's just oh god. Okay, well, that's a sad, sad ending to which will probably end up being the league for me. All I still have left to do is to let my mappers run a few more maps, and then I'm going to start a hardcore character next, I think, to just complete these two achievements if possible. Otherwise, I'll just come back to blast through some invitations and stuff. But yeah, this was a great league for me. I did play a lot, and so I already finished most of the achievements, and this is the only character I made. So hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments, and like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.